Schadenfreude is a German word for gaining pleasure from someone else's demise or suffering.
Now, I have to say, I don't take any joy or pleasure out of the deaths and the suffering that some people have experienced at the hands of these gene therapies that were pushed onto them. And that's because I really believe that these people were doing what they thought was best for them. And they were fooled, in my opinion. But I have to admit, some deaths are a little less tragic than others. And you may agree with me or not. We're going to talk about a couple of those today. And the first one is Julie Powell, who you may know from Julie and Julia, the food blog, which also inspired a movie. And then we're also going to talk about Doug Brignall, who is a perfectly healthy middle aged man, bodybuilder. And what these two had in common was something called hubris. And hubris is just a arrogance or presumption of correctness that you know everything and that you're so correct. And I think a lesson that we might be able to take away from these two is if you want your death to be tragic or you want people to not make fun of you after you die, don't be an asshole during life. So Julie Powell was very proud of the fact that she was vaxxed. And here's the tweet that she tweeted out that she, believed that some of the right people were killed by COVID, and that's those darn anti-vaxxers and those stupid anti-mask people. Well, you can make your decision on whether she was right or wrong, but this one is a little more interesting, and I think this shows somebody who actually changes his mind after death or would agree with you after death, and that's Doug Brignall. Now, Doug Brignall was very proud of the fact that he was vaxxed and boosted, and he just thought it was foolish of those who did not want to get the vaccine. But you know what? He made himself a experiment for all of us, and that's actually pretty that's actually pretty commendable. He went out there and he said, "I will show you that this thing works or doesn't work," and that's exactly what he did. He showed us that it didn't work, and he gave his life up for us. So it's very noble, very noble. Now, the other interesting thing that's come out recently is this article in The Atlantic calling for amnesty for those who made wrong decisions during COVID, but the article itself kind of loses the point, and we're going to see how ridiculous it is. So let's take a look at this right here. So here is the Atlantic article by Emily Oster. Let's declare a pandemic amnesty. Let's focus on the future and fix the problems we still need to solve. Now, first off, what kind of amnesty is Emily talking about? Is she talking about amnesty from all of the deaths and health damage that was caused by the health leaders, the officials, or is she talking about, oh, because we had to close the schools or social distance? In the beginning of this article, she does a lot of talking about herself. Okay, and I don't really care about that too much. And she's been reflecting and doing classes at Brown University. Good for her. Now, this is where it starts to get really telling right here. Let's start to read. Another example. When the vaccines came out, we lacked definitive data on the relative efficacies of the Johnson & Johnson shot versus the mRNA options from Pfizer and Moderna, which you would have never known listening to the health officials, right? The mRNA vaccines have won out. No, they haven't. But at the time, many people in public health were either neutral or expressed a J&J preference. This misstep wasn't nefarious. It was the result of uncertainty. Okay, so these are the type of amnesty things they're talking about. Oh, some people said the JZ and J would be better than the Pfizer, and that wasn't true. So let's give them a pass, okay? Obviously, some people intended to mislead and made wildly irresponsible claims. And here is a wildly irresponsible claim coming up right here. Remember when the public health community had to spend a lot of time and resources urging Americans not to inject themselves with bleach? That was bad. Misinformation was and remains a huge problem. Please, can anyone, and Emily, if you're probably not watching this, but show me one person who injected themselves with bleach. And what she's referring to here is they took a press conference that Donald Trump did and they wildly misquoted him and have been saying ever since then that he was telling people to inject themselves with bleach. This is it's very irresponsible. It's misinformation. It's totally not true. But here she is, still spreading it to this day on in an article talking about how misinformation is a huge problem. These people aren't living in reality. So no, amnesty for no one because you can't even admit to the damage you've done. And coming up here soon, Fauci and others will have to testify. So we'll be looking out for that and we'll be hoping and praying for justice, not amnesty. Thank you for watching this. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and hit the like button. Until next time, peace be with you.